feel like it's just why are you insecure about
Mhm.
your problems, right? Like
Yeah.
just share them and like make other people quote unquote suffer less.
Yep, exactly. I get it for like maybe some content creators or some people who might be like recognized they don't want some or whatever.
Yeah,
Because
but
then,
that doesn't it makes it even more human, no? Because then the viewers also see like, oh wow, this big streamer's also like has the same issues that might face, you know?
but like let's say you're a big streamer and you don't really want to give free promotion to a coach you might not like because it's your first time working with me. You know what I mean? I see that logic though. I haven't actually had that
Ah,
happen.
yeah, sure. That
Like,
makes sense.
yeah. So yeah. Um, let's see. So what games do you play? What are you
Only
trying to
Valorant.
improve at? Valorant? All right, makes sense. That's what 90% of my students, probably 80% of my students play Valorant. Let's see. And what rank are you right now?
Radiant.
Nice, nice. Oh yeah, you DM'd me on Twitter about this, right? That was you who DM'd me on Twitter, or was that someone
Uh,
else?
I think this was someone else, wasn't me.
Oh, okay. There was a guy who DM'd me on Twitter the other day said I'm radiant, but I want coaching. Never mind. All right, so pull up. Let's watch. Let me watch you play a Valorant deathmatch so I can get an idea of how good you are at aiming and stuff.
Yeah, the thing is, I feel pretty confident about my game sense and everything, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like mechanically I'm lacking a bit
All right, let's take a
still.
peek at your game.
And yeah, like my goal is to become a tier 1 player.
All right, that's a good goal. Have
And
you
I'm
done
also
any T2 plan?
sorry.
Have you done any T2 plan?
Uh,
Match
I
Like
found.
any?
was playing in the beginning of the last year for a tier 2 team, but since then
Mm-hmm.
I've been only playing like relegation for tier 2 and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So yeah, I've been DMing a lot of people for trials right now.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah, I'm also an IGL, but I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to fall too far behind mechanically behind my
Mm-hmm.
team. That makes sense.
Good goal.
Death match. Warm up.
Yeah.
Fight.
Three for me. Engineer killed.
I'm also playing on my Skype, by the way.
Mm-hmm. What's Sensi playing on the scat pad?
0.12 and 1600 DPI.
Loosen up. Three for me.
What mouse are you using?
Death Header V3.
Can you repeat that? You cut out for a second.
Death Header V3 Pro.
Oh,
Like
Death
Razer.
Adder V3 Pro. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so a medium weight mouse, not heavy, not light.
Dominating.
Engineer killed.
you have any experience aim training already?
Yeah, it's like 250 hours in aim labs and like 100 in Kovacs. I've been trying some different like playlists, like routines already,
Yep.
but
That makes
I
sense.
the thing is like I have no right clue of what I'm doing, so it's basically like pointless practicing.
Yep, that makes
Like
sense.
I know that I like on moving targets, for example, I don't chase the target, I try to flick
Yep.
on it and stuff like that. Like I
Yep.
know the basics, but I don't really get like what it does in game and how it affects and stuff like that. So for me, it's
Alright.
basically point is to do something I don't personally see what I need to be doing right, and I don't want to practice like any bad habits or something as well.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
5 kills
But I can
remaining.
see the value of it being good if you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. So, what have you been doing most recently for training? Is there like a aim lab or Kovacs playlist you've been following, or
I'm-
just nothing?
I mean, mostly I was doing like the new voltaic benchmarks on AimLabs,
Okay.
and I have like a routine which I got from Aimer7, like
1 kill
I
remaining.
don't know, a year ago or some shit, but it wasn't
Okay.
tailored towards me. It was just a general routine for Valorant and CS. So yeah.
That makes sense.
And this Aimer7 guy just told me like it's unnecessary for Valorant to get tailored stuff because it's a lot of time to kill game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm not too sure about it. There's still think like I think the concept of aim training is like going to the gym, like you just practice an individual skill.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I have no clue on how to properly set it up, so I booked the session.
What I want you to do right now is open up Kovacs for me. We're gonna try something.
Okay. Just give me a second, my Steam is loading as well.
Yep, no worries.
I'm streaming this to you, yes?
Hmm?
You want me to stream it to you as well, yeah?
Yeah, show me your, I want to see your screen. What do we want to do? Let's open up. Let's start out with a few different scenarios. Let's start out with a 1-6 target small. Just a very basic fifth one down. Fifth one, you don't even need to do anything. You can literally
Oh, this one.
yeah, and now it disappeared and you gotta
What the fuck? Where did it
click
go?
X on the top because you spelled it wrong. There you go.
Oh, okay.
But
What I realized in aim trainers too, I tend to change my grip in aim trainers sometimes, like, which is also something why I stopped more with the aim training.
depends on the scenario and why it's happening. Like, is it happening in this scenario?
I mean, I can feel how my fingers like want to like readjust. 'Cause, like in Valorant, like I need to be able to press mouse button 3, mouse button 4, 5. I mean, for like abilities.
Oh,
And here I don't, so I think my fingers essentially want to aim more. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if
Alright.
that makes sense.
So, that does make sense. So, oh, on the stream. So, how do I put this? What that suggests to me, usually when someone's grip changes without them really thinking about it, that means it's a more comfortable grip for them and something they're more able to aim effectively with. That's why their unconscious mind is kind of shifting your fingers a little bit to be more comfortable, right? That part makes sense to you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh
Like-
wait, we're on free play, not even a challenge. I was wondering why this hadn't ended yet.
Yeah, I was also like
Yeah, I was
kinda,
really confused for a second. That's my bad. Um,
Why is it not
no, you
going
don't
into-
need to challenge. You don't need to challenge. It's fine. I don't need a score. I just need to see how you approach it. But it would. Let me think for a second. Hold on. So if you don't have to press the buttons, then that means that for one thing, your thumb can now go to a different position because that might be more comfortable for stability because it doesn't have to be on certain buttons. If you don't have your thumb pressing it on buttons, then all of a sudden you might need your other fingers to shift a bit to counteract that force. And
Like,
then all of a
wait, I
sudden
can
you
show
have a
it to you. Wait, do you see my cam?
Yep.
Like basically, my thumb usually like when I'm turning is like out, sticking out like this.
Yep.
Can you see this?
Yep.
And like when I play Valorant, it's sticking in because I need to be able to do this like with the mouse buttons, you know?
Yep.
Like right, left.
That makes
this.
sense. Is that the only
that-
change?
That's I think mainly the most change. And I feel like my palm, like where this grip pad is here, like my palm is touching this more, like this is like the basic touch point.
Uh-huh. Does that change at all, or does that stay the same?
I mean that's also a change. I feel like because I notice it way more that it's like more in my hand. Like I feel like it's part
Okay.
of my hand. And that makes sense.
In the aim trainer?
In the aim trainer, yeah,
Does it feel more stable?
it feels more controlled for sure. But when I try to force it in Valorant, it doesn't work that way.
So
It's always changing.
what I would say to you is, if possible, learn to aim in Valorant without your mouse buttons.
So basically, rebind like the abilities from the mouse to the keyboard. You mean?
If you can learn that, that would help the stability a lot. But if it's impossible to learn in Valorant because you need those abilities and all that stuff, I don't think it's a huge deal.
I mean, I can probably rebind it if I force
Yeah.
myself to. That's
That
not a
is
problem.
that would probably help you tap into that stability in game because obviously you can't have something in game when you need those buttons to be able to move around. But if you no longer need those buttons and you want that grip to apply in game, that'll probably help a lot. It's up to you exactly how you want to do it. But now what I want you to do is go to a scenario called Pure G Horizontal Clicking Valorant.
Like pure G.
G, yeah. Space horizontal. And that's honestly probably enough to just hit enter. Yep, top one. Alright, play one of these and then we're going to start talking.
Yeah, I think sure. Oh no! Oh no! I suck at this. I can tell already. Just by the way the fucking dots move.
Yes.
I guess you really know what scenarios to pick to fuck people over, right?
Yes. Nice. So, in game, what happens to you is if someone's moving, you end up trailing behind them, trying to catch up to them, eventually catching up to them, or not catching up to them. You just end up not approaching people fast enough, you're very passive with it, and as a result of that, a lot of people are able to kill you before you're able to get your crosshair on them, right? If they're moving. Have you
Yeah, or
noticed
I
that?
hit him, or I hit him one time in the body already before, like,
Yep,
because I shoot too fast instead of like taking maybe the extra split second.
that's not a huge deal. I mean, if you look at most people's stats, it's very rare to see a good player above like 50% headshot rate. So it's
No, no,
not.
I mean, I just hit them in the body once, and they hit me in the head.
Oh,
Like,
yep, because you didn't. I mean, with how accurate your first few bullets are, depending on like how things go, that's not always a huge deal. But more what I'm pointing out is that a lot of times when someone else is moving, your crosshair will be behind them, right?
hmm
And they will continue to move, and your crosshair will stay behind them. You'll be very passive with it. It's not like you'll be truly trailing, like tracking their shadow, but you'll just not get your crosshair on to the person on a sky pad on a super low sense, where that should be very easy to do, right? So the
yeah, the
first
thing is,
thing,
if I put the sense lower, like I can't 180 anymore.
yeah, no, it's my point is that on your current sense and setup, it should be a very easy thing to do. So it's more of a skill issue that needs to be trained than an actual sensitivity issue. Like, yes, you can put the sense lower and you can't 180, but like you don't need to change the sense. You just need to fix your skill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense.
So first thing we're gonna do is or actually, first of all, my theory for why you do this is yeah, you just lack skill, right? But when you look at your stat, a lot of people lack the technique, and that's why they struggle with it. But if we look at your 1 while 6 target small run, what you'll notice is you had the smooth initial flick, right? It was a good flick. And then you got close to the target, you start shaking a ton, lapping around it, and just really all around shit show. So that's bad. So instead, what we want to do is take you to a scenario like. So what we want to do is work on your precise control overall, make you more able to control your mouse over small distances. So first what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit more of an investigation. Go to wide wall 3 targets,
Right.
wall 3 targets, Pokeball. Pokeball. This is our last little check, top one.
Yeah.
This is our last little check.
It's just clicking or?
You hold down the entire time.
Ah, okay. Ah, no, there's nothing like left out in level okay.
So the goal of this VOD was basically just to get an idea of whether your issue with micro adjustments comes from stopping power and your just overall shakiness, lack of control, or if it's just your overall shakiness, lack of precise control. And the way we can tell that is basically you watch your flicks, they stop pretty clean, and then you kind of shake to get back on the target, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not ideal technique because, for one thing, it'd be better to just have the flick transition into the micro adjustment. But with your current skill level, that's not super important. What's important is having the flick is having the micro adjustments actually be able to do something. Like you can have a flick that smoothly transitions into a micro adjustment and then have a micro adjustment like yours where it laps around the target 3 times and then lands. or you can have a flick that stops and then a micro adjustment that actually goes onto the target, and
Yes.
that'll be a lot better for you.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, you'd have a flick that slows down into a micro adjustment that actually lands and gets on the target. But for now, we'll just focus on trying to get the micro adjustments up before we combine like 5 things when you just need to work on like 1 or 2, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure.
All right, so hit done, and let's go back to 1 while 6 targets small. And what I want you to do this time around, you understand the concept of a micro adjustment, right? I'm just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's basically like you do a fast flick and then you like readjust like minorly to the target,
All
basically.
right. So what I want you to do is think of your micro adjustment as a second flick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want that flick and I want you to only use one micro adjustment. So you're not redirecting your micro adjustment 5 times. You're flicking,
Mm.
and then you're
Okay.
adjusting onto the target immediately afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, play. Don't change anything about your flicks. Just, yup, nice. Nope.
I slow down because I think too much.
When you're learning a new technique, sometimes you do end up thinking a lot. The goal is to not have to think about it shortly afterwards.
I mean, I feel
All
like I
right.
know what you're trying to say, but I feel like I don't execute it properly.
I know what you mean, and that's because aim is a motor skill, not a. It's not a just a. What's the words I'm looking for? Hold on a second. Aim is a motor skill. It's not just an intellectual like thinking skill. You can have good aim, right? Or you can have a good idea of what you need to do.
Yes.
But if your hand isn't good enough at coordinating with your eyes and all those other things to be able to put your crosshair on the target, you're not going to be able to apply what you need to do. Right?
So can you
That's
fix this issue?
practice.
Like the thing is, I like the moment I'm trying to not think anymore, I start getting into like my old patterns again, and then I realize I don't want to do this, and then
Let
it
me
gets slower and fuck up.
put it like this. Let me do an analogy. Last night, I was at I was at my jujitsu school doing some jujitsu, and the professor realized that like there was almost no white belts there, me being one of the only white belts in the whole building, and my friend being the other one. So he decided he was going to go for a bit more of an advanced technique. And me and my friend both look at each other afterwards. We had a headache, like we just sat through an hour of a biology lecture or something because it was complicated. But it was a motor skill. It should be simple. But trying to just grasp the idea of what you're supposed to do and all these different things and understand it can be hard at times. But if you can practice, but if you can start to grasp that idea and then think about it and then practice it, then after practicing for a little while, you won't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, it basically sounds like my how is it called? Like my kung fu, what I'm doing.
Yep.
Like in the beginning of the movement to connect them are it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Then the more you do it, you more get a grasp of it. I get it.
Exactly.
I get it. I get it.
Exactly. So try it
So,
again.
but how is it like? It's supposed to look like this, and then again a flick or what?
So you're gonna have a period of. You are definitely a lot better than you were. Here, let me share my screen.
I paused,
Let me
wait.
show you what I want to show you. Share your screen. Share screen. Screen one. Go ahead. Give it a right. Just waiting for Kovacs to launch. I clicked on it, but it's not launching. Should appear in a second or two.
You in contact with Misfit?
Oh yeah. I we worked on like a project a while back, and we've stayed in touch since every now and then. We were just talking about how he uploaded a video yesterday. It got copyright claimed for some audio, and then because of that, he took it down and then put it back up. So I was just chatting with him because yeah. Okay, so I can't launch Kovacs, so I'm gonna launch AIM Labs. We're gonna see if that works, or maybe just Steam altogether there isn't working. Try launching Steam. Alright. Hold on a second, let me try
It
doing
worked?
something. I'm not able to get anything open. Let me try this. Opening Kovacs from desktop. Does that force it to open? Maybe if I run it as an administrator. I've never had this open before. I'm clicking Kovacs and it's not launching. Alright, so I cannot demonstrate, unfortunately, because Kovacs is not launching. But basically, alright, replay it. So don't move your crosshair, I'm just going to guide you. So first, what you're going to do is a fast initial flick. Go for one. That was slow. Click on that and go to the one on the top right. Let's do something far away. Fast initial flick, and then a micro adjustment onto the target. Right? Nice. Click. That was a very slow down version of what you'd want. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, you're going back to your old thing. You stopped doing the thing again. Nope.
Yes, yeah.
Let's. All right, so I figured out how to explain it. So static. So, or let's just say 1 while 6 target small. Stop dot. If you make more than one distinct motion in a micro adjustment, you lose. You are wrong. Does that make sense? So if your so literally just focus on after every flick. Was my micro adjustment one motion or two motions? If the answer is one, good. If the answer was two, three, four, whatever, more than one, that's bad. Let's move on to something else
Yeah.
real
Okay,
quick.
yeah. Mhm.
Search up. Let's go to search up raw mouse control clicking 3. Should be no spaces, though I don't think it'll matter. Just try that. Yeah.
This
Yep. Top one. Just try playing it. It's rated 2.7 before I started forcing it on everyone. Nice. Hmm. So basically, for this scenario, what you want to do, I feel like you probably felt as you went faster, like that feeling in your hand, in your wrist, where you can't be more precise and fast. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
All right. So basically, you want to just push yourself to the point where you're feeling that feeling and just try and push through it so that every day you're able to make micro adjustments a bit faster. So that's the goal of that. And let's see. Now I'll try to go back to the dynamic scenario of Valorant horizontal clicking Valorant. Or actually, no, not yet, not yet. I want to work on one
Mhm.
little build up scenario. Let's go to Smoothbot, Invincible,
This
Goated, yeah.
is
Play it.
tracking, right?
Yep.
That shit is fast.
Mm-hmm.
I bled my mouse pad, please.
Got bad.
I feel like the faster the target gets, the more shaky I get.
That definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I can feel the shakiness here in my arm. Like my arm is literally
Mm-hmm.
like epileptic seizure or something. Thing is, I also cannot track this shit. Like
No, you can't.
I have a Skype pad and I'm moving around over my whole mouse pad, and I have to readjust my mouse the whole time.
All right. Hmm. One second. So, do you know what trailing means? Like the concept of trailing? Are you aware of that concept?
Tracking?
Trailing, like trailing in a tracking scenario.
No, I never heard of this.
All right, that's fine. Let's see if I can get Kovacs opening. I'm gonna try again. Kovacs. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run Steam as an administrator. Run as administrator. Yes.
I'm gonna refill my water bottle real quick.
Yep, no worries. Run as administrator. Yes. Windows. Or Steam. Discord. Steam won't open.
Alright, Avik.
No worries. All right, cool. So basically, trailing is the idea that instead of tracking a bot, you're tracking an invisible shadow behind the bot. Does that make sense? Like
I mean,
you're
how am I
speak-
supposed to score then if I track the invisible shit behind the bot?
You're not. That's why you shouldn't be doing it, right?
Oh, okay. And what's the
So
concept of that?
what basically half of your run would be what we'd consider trailing. It's something that
Yes.
once you're aware of it, you're able to force yourself to not do it, right?
I
But
mean,
you gotta
it's not like I'm trying to like, not get
That's
on
why I
the
thought
bot.
you were aware of it, because at certain points you would try to fix it, but you try to fix it with a flick to the bot, right?
Yes.
You would be like, oh shit, I'm behind it, I've been up behind it for a while, gotta flick to it. So it's kind of two ends of a spectrum. You got on one end, people trying to be so slow, so smooth, so steady that they don't even get on the bot. And on the other end, you got people who are so worried about getting on the bot that they're so fast and flicky that they end up off the bot within a second. Because when a bot's continuously moving and you flick to it and then stop your mouse, the bot's just going to move off your mouse. So instead, what you got to do is have a smooth, steady acceleration onto the bot, which allows you to be on the bot, and then from there, stay on the bot. Does that make sense?
I mean, yes and no. Like,
Okay.
so how
Does
am I
not.
supposed to how am I supposed to do it then?
Think of it as not a flick, but you're still moving significantly faster than the bot. You're not quite moving so fast that you'd consider it a flick, or at least a very smooth flick. It's slow enough that when you actually end up reaching the bot, you can very easily slow slightly down to the pace of the bot and then stay on the bot for an extended period of time.
I mean, the issue I face with the bot is when it goes up air, like it goes like above my head. Like because then I need to I need to lift my mouse to reposition it again, and that's where
That's fine.
where
There was it was a 20% accuracy run. You did not spend 80% of the time lifting your mouse and resetting it. I understand that there will be times where you're lifting your mouse and resetting it. This is how you recover from that and recover from not being on target.
okay, now let's try it, I guess.
Less flex, more slow and steady. Nice. Trailing. Nice. So think about what the first thing we talked about from your gameplay was. When you are trying to hit someone who is moving, you either go too slow to get on them, or as you said, there will be times. I didn't see him in that death match, I don't think, but you said there were a lot of times in game where you'd flick so fast, you just go over them, or by the time you land on them, they'd go off and it just wouldn't work, right?
Yes, yes.
What is your issue with this? Either you go too slow to get on it, or you flick so fast you can't stay on it.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
But like I feel like with this here, like I move my mouse into positions where I never would be. Like like on this in my mouse pad, I would never be in Valorant. Like on the edge of my mouse pad, like completely anywhere. Because I control with my movement the same as like so my mouse pad space is literally like just the middle part of my mouse pad basically. Like I never have to
Have
go
you
over
learned?
anything.
Have you ever rode a bike before?
Yeah, of course.
I'm guessing you probably learned when you were younger,
Yes.
like a young child, and you were probably a very small child at the time, right?
Yes.
So at a certain point, you probably bought a bigger bike,
Yes.
and you picked it up pretty easily because you weren't trying to ride the bigger bike a completely different way. You were just applying a different technique, or you were just applying all the skills you learned from the previous bike onto the new bike, maybe a few seconds of a bit confusion, then you were fine.
Yeah, I would even say no to confusion.
Yeah. So let's say this. You practice flicking all over the place in game, right? And then all of a
Yes.
sudden you have someone who appears slightly at a slightly different distance than what most of the people appear at, right? Like let's say
Yeah.
you usually rotate 45, 50, 67, and for some reason you've never seen someone appear at 47.325 degrees before in a game, and someone does that. Are you now unable to flick to them because it's a different distance, or do you just apply all the previously learned motor skills to this change and flick to them?
No, of course the second one.
Yes, that's how motor skills work. You learn something, you apply that technique to a game. In this scenario, we're not focusing on where your mouse is on your mouse pad. We're not focusing on anything but the technique of of smoothly but quickly approaching a target instead of smoothly and slowly or fast and unsmooth. We're working on that balance of maintaining speed and smoothness at the same time. Nothing else. It doesn't matter where on your mousepad you are, what mouse you're using, what sense, what mouse you're using. All those things don't matter. What matters is that you work on this specific technique so that you can apply it to a moving target in game.
I see. Okay.
Nice. So let's try it one more time and see how you do. An even higher jump than before. I'm guessing one because you were more used to the technique, and two because you weren't thinking of why this wasn't useful.
Maybe.
All right, nice.
I mean,
So,
the thing is, like the thing what I'm trying, I'm a very logical person. Like I'm trying to connect the dots most of the time, like
worries.
in my brain. So for me, it's like, why? First of all, why am I practicing a tracking target when I never need to track?
Exactly.
That's what I don't get.
You
Like
still don't
Valorant's
get
not a
that?
tracking game. I get no. I'm tracking specifically. Like if this would be a click target, like I have to click all my way through. I get it. But like if I just continuously hold down mouse one, it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so why is it different to smoothly, steadily approach a tracking target than a clicking target?
Because there I can just rest my finger and just like hold it down. I just need to do the mouse movement. If I have to click as well, it's like edit another layer into it, no?
Yes, that is a separate thing, right? So the part, if you never make it onto the target, does it matter if you were trying to click at it or track it?
Ah, so you're trying to like separate like the layers basically of it.
Don't get me wrong, we will. There was a reason I wanted you to go to this
No,
right
no, of course, like
before we
I'm
go
not
into a
like
clicking
judging any
task.
of your coaching or something. I'm
It's
just like trying to
I know
understand
you're
it,
not.
you
I
know?
know you're not. I know you're not. My point is that you're not wrong. You do need to practice clicking. There's a lot of skills that go behind clicking a target that is moving. That is true. And one of them is the ability to smoothly but quickly get onto the target before you click it. So in order to get that down, this works just as well as that, but by removing the clicking aspect, we can go to a more simple bot pattern, right? Because if I gave you a scenario where the bot just moved in this direction or like
Yeah,
mostly
like
horizontal,
this horizontal first trip what you gave me,
the
this is
first
hard as
bot I
shit.
gave you, yes, but even more so a different bot, you'd be able to ignore this part of technique and just kind of aim in front of it, aim around it, just hope it passes over your crosshair and click it without actually learning the technique. The tracking bot forces you to learn the technique that will be hard to apply to clicking at first, and then it will become easier, and then it'll become easier, and then all of a sudden that'll be your better clicking technique, right?
So it's basically like the side wheels on a bike when you learn riding.
I guess you could say that. I guess you could say that take away the fact that you need balance and lets you focus on how to move your legs, how to move the steering wheel and all those things. This takes away the fact that you need to have a few click timing skills and all those things and just focuses on getting back on the target. That's a pretty good way to put it.
Okay.
And now let's go to the clicking scenario and see if you can apply this to that.
Which one?
Uh Pure G horizontal clicking Valorant. Or yeah, sure.
No, what? Sorry.
Let's go to the not Valorant one first, Pure G horizontal. It was still there. You didn't have to exit, but Pure G horizontal. Just go to Pure G horizontal clicking. There should be. Did they take down the normal version? Oh, small. Go to the Pure G
What?
horizontal clicking small. Because it's either small. Play it. Alright, what you'll find is bots that just move horizontally.
Be so much better. I don't know. Holy shit.
You just got juked.
Yes.
Bro broke your ankles.
Oh, but I
Right.
could feel immediately how it felt a lot like better, like just the flick in itself. Like I could notice it in my own hand, like how it was just a lot easier as well. Like it felt like the like tracking bot was like the hard version of this one.
Exactly. The tracking bot forces you to get onto the target, and this kind of lets you apply that technique. I will say that for 80% of these bots, you'd use more of a floating heads technique where you'd put your crosshair in front of the bot, let it fall into it. So the tracking bot, not too much of what we worked on in the tracking scenario was applied, but there were a lot of times where you'd come from behind and apply those techniques and it would help, right?
Mhm.
So here, hit done. So that was a good run. Good job. Now we're gonna go back to the top one, the actual hard one. And you're gonna play this.
Mhm.
And as you play it, what I want you to do is try and treat these bots like they were that tracking bot.
Nice.
Like they were the tracking bot. Alright, not bad. Hold on. So these bots are moving back and forth instead of just in one direction, right?
Yes.
So as you approach them, they could switch directions, right?
Yes.
So let's say your crosshairs. I'm gonna actually do a little Google drawing to explain this. That's how I usually do this. Hold on. Drive, new, Google Drawings, Google Drawing, head. Let's do this. This is the bot. That's too big. This is, nope. This is your crosshair.
Yes.
So when your crosshair is this far, let's say your crosshair is this far away, this is like half your screen space. The ball will go
Mhm.
like this, it'll go like this, it'll go like this, it'll go like this, right? So no matter
Yes.
what direction the bot's moving or if it changes direction, you still want to be moving towards the bot, right?
Yes.
You're just getting closer and cutting distance. So now you're in this range. The bot's going like this, and you see it's coming towards you, right?
Mhm.
So what you want to do is smoothly move towards it. But if you depend on getting here and it switches and the bot also approaching you, like you did in the first scenario where you stick your crosshair in front and just let it kind of fall into you, right? Then there's a
Mhm.
chance that the bot switches directions and you don't get that shot, right? So instead,
Mhm.
what you'd want to do is continue as the bot gets closer and closer, and you kind of cross so that you still continue. So that if the bot switches directions or continues in the same direction, you're still on target, just opposite ends of the target. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, so
So you want to
basically do
very smoothly.
like a bit over flicking, like a small, like very small.
Yeah, and you want to smoothly approach it, right? That is definitely
Mhm.
part of it. You want to smoothly approach it so that you get onto the bot and land it. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, let's see if you
Okay.
can get it. You want to not let the bot pass your crosshair ever. If the bot passes your crosshair, that, like, if it was on the left of your crosshair, now it's on the right, that means you missed an opportunity for a shot. Cool. So that
That's
was
cool.
good. That was about as good as you're gonna get it in this session because you understand those techniques. So I'm just gonna make some notes for you. Raw mouse control clicking 3. How many in the past 7 days, how many hours a day have you aim trained, or how many minutes a day have you aim trained on average?
About an hour each day.
Okay. For the past 7 days, you've held that?
Yeah, I
All right.
think so.
Speed. And how long do you actually want to aim train per day?
I mean, I would prefer if it's like 30 minutes, but if
That's
it has
fine.
to be
No,
longer,
that's fine. That's
if it
fine.
has if
That's
it
fine.
has to be longer, like I don't
30
mind.
minutes is fine. Push speed until you feel yourself unable to do so. Push speed until you feel yourself unable. Where do I want to go with this? Feel yourself being uncomfortable. 116 target small. Your G horizontal clicking Valorant. Push speed. Smoothly and steadily approach bots. Don't let them pass crosshair. Smooth bot. Invincible goaded. Don't let bots smoothly and quickly get back on target. So what I threw below are some notes on just how to play a few of the scenarios that we went over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once I'm gonna have to restart my computer to get Kovacs launched, but once I get that open, I'll be able to create a playlist for you to probably contain those scenarios and some very similar scenarios to them. So if you see like something that looks almost exactly like raw mouse control clicking 3, maybe slightly different name or almost exactly like this, but maybe it's the small version because your score isn't really that bad for your skill level or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just play it the same way as these notes say to play that one, or maybe a different tracking scenario. Just play it like Smoothbot, right? I'm
Okay.
not. I, Normally, I'd make the playlist while you're still on call, but I'm gonna have to restart my computer to be able to do that. So I won't be able to do that
Yes.
this time. But yeah, your playlist will
Mm-hmm.
be something along the effect of those 4 scenarios and similar scenarios for half an hour.
Okay.
Nice. So any questions you had for me before we're done? Anything you wanted to talk
Mm,
about that you didn't feel like I addressed? Anything
no,
you still don't understand how it relates back to the
like,
game?
how long do you think it takes me to improve on this or get better on this?
Good question.
Because I'm like I will do this daily. Like I'm someone who like if I because I as I said I want to become a T1 player. Like I'm doing it every day.
Yep. I feel like with the new techniques you've learned today, if you really focus in game, because that's the other part of it, you got to make sure that you focus on also applying these techniques in game, right? The micro adjustment stuff is more skill than technique. You'll learn that over time, but your your get dynamic clicking, all those kinds of techniques, those can be applied to the game right away. And if you do that, you should be able to see progress pretty quickly. Like in that death match, if you really focused on the techniques we just finished talking about, I'm willing to bet you do a lot better. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yes.
All right, cool. Any other questions for me? Oh,
No.
uh, Discord. Discord just crashed. I'm sorry. Did my internet crash or did just my Discord crashed? I am sorry.
Oh, you didn't hear what I said?
No, I did not. Did you?
Uh,
What did you say after that?
I said like is there any possibility that like I can book like a catch-up session in like 3 months or some shit
On
that we
a
that we
follow-up
can
session? Like
yeah that we
just
like
get another session?
yeah basically but like just see if like how I improved on it and if maybe it's something different is now an issue or something.
I mean, yeah, I do follow-up sessions with students all the time. I used to have like a 30-minute catch-up thing that was a bit less than half price because but what I found was either people would wait too long to get it and then it'd be like we'd need a full-length session and the 30 minutes wouldn't work, or people would get it too soon and all of a sudden I'd basically say have nothing to say to the person. So I stopped doing that. So if you wanted to get another session, go for it. I really do enjoy follow-up sessions. The one thing though, DM me before you buy another session because September 2nd I move back out to college, and when I'm in college my Wi-Fi goes down a lot. I'm haven't checked out the Wi-Fi in the building I'm gonna be living in, so it'll really just depend on how my internet is while I'm out there, right?
Hmm.
Like if I'm able to take students, if I'm taking a lot of students or just very few students, if I'm only taking students, just DM me because the availability might be a lot less more rare than the summer. So yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. Anything else?
All right. No,
All right,
that's it. That was it. Thank you.
perfect. Bye. I'll send you a routine as soon as possible.
Yep.